Hi, this is Christy Turner with DementiaSherpa.com, your Dementia Sherpa guiding you through rough terrain. Hello, thanks for coming in. Um, I did this crazy thing this week and accidentally deleted my YouTube channel, so I have just spent the last 2 days recording 114 new videos for my YouTube channel, so yay. But I'm finishing off all my video shooting with recapping the blog that I published earlier this week, which is about how to handle difficult questions from your loved one who's living with dementia without making it worse, because that's really the last thing you need. So I had a reader who wrote me and said, my mom called and she was confused. She thought that my dad was still alive and he passed a long time ago, and she wanted to know, what should I do? Because what she told her mom on the phone was, oh, dad's been gone a long time, and her mom got really upset. So she wasn't really sure how to handle it. When she mentioned it to a couple of friends, they said, well, you should have told her, a white lie and just kind of reassured her, because it ended up taking this lady all day to help her mom get to a calm state again. So her question to me was, should I have lied to her, number one? And number two, does that always work? So here's what I have to say about it. Number one, yeah, that's called a therapeutic fiblet. And how it works is we're kind of telling a white lie for the greater good. You don't want to have someone who's living with dementia who's confused, mixed up about what's going on. You don't want to take them through that trauma again of reliving a loss that they've had. So if you go more for listening for the emotion behind the words, the meaning, she may have just been missing her husband. So that's something that you can try, is saying, I've been thinking about dad a lot too lately, or it sounds like you're missing dad. Or you can even say something like, oh, isn't this about the time that dad would usually be at work? And I know some people are uncomfortable with the concept of lying, and they, on religious or moral or ethical grounds. And here's what I say to that. Number one, as a religious issue, I personally tend to believe that, if you just use the what would Jesus do thing as a rule, that it's probably not going to be any penalty points for you for being kind to a parent who is living with dementia. But that's the main thing that we're always going for, is kindness. So what's the kindest, most loving thing that you can do in that moment? And it's probably not to make your mom with dementia cry, right? So there's that. And the other thing too is you have to look at being kind to yourself. So if you're in this situation, you're trying to manage it, telling your parent who's living with dementia that your other parent has passed is definitely going to be upsetting to them all over again. So it's not a kind thing to do for either one of you. Then once you've kind of figured out what's the emotion behind it and dealt with that piece of it, then what do you do going forward? So because I've worked with over 1,045 people who are living with dementia in the course of my career, I put an embed in my blog post that I published earlier this week, and it is real life stories of things that have happened both in my family and with clients I've worked with, that has some kind of stickier situations of, well, how would you handle that? And it explains the concepts of confabulation and conflation, where, sometimes I'll hear people say, well, I think they're just, they're lying. None of that stuff is true. And actually what's happening is they're getting one piece of information over here from their brain and another piece of information from over here in their brain, and they're conflating those or confabulating into a new fact. And you're never going to win an argument about what's true or what's not true, right? Because their brain is telling them this is true. This is a new fact. So it explains those concepts and gives you some communication tips. So there are actually 2 free downloads in that. The first one is communication tips and strategies, and that's toward the top of the article. And the second one explains the concepts of therapeutic fiblet, as we call those white lies, and validation therapy, which is how you can be supportive of your loved one without using so-called reality orientation and making them wrong. So that's toward the end of the article, and you can get both of those downloads if you go to dementiasherpa.com, click on the blog link, which is at the top of the page toward the right, and you'll pop up right on the top article. The top blog is the same, it's titled the same as this Periscope. So hopefully that helps you, and I'd love to hear if it does. And again, that's dementiasherpa.com. Click on the link for blog, and it's the first article there. You'll find those 2 free downloads in that article.